In the West, hesitation gets you killed. So when a gunslinger rode into town with a name on a paper, nobody expected mercy. Especially not when the name belonged to a woman. They said she was dangerous. Said she ruined men. Said letting her live was a mistake. So he found her. Alone. Unarmed. Exactly where they said she'd be. His gun was raised. Finger ready. And then. He didn't shoot. Now here's the question nobody in that town could agree on. Did he just save an innocent woman or doom everyone else? Because by nightfall, the same people who hired him were ready to kill him instead. The gun stayed raised longer than it should have. That was the first mistake. Out here, decisions were quick. Clean. Final. You either pulled the trigger, or you didn't walk away. She stood a few feet from him, a basket of laundry resting against her hip, like this was just another quiet afternoon. No panic. No sudden movement. Just stillness. That unsettled him more than anything. Most people begged. Some ran. Others tried something stupid. But her? She simply looked at him. Not at the gun. At him. Like she already knew how this moment was supposed to end. "You're late," she said softly. The words hit harder than a bullet. His grip tightened slightly. "Turn around," he muttered. She didn't move. Instead, she tilted her head, studying him. "You don't look like the kind of man who shoots people in the back." That did it. A flicker of irritation crossed his face. "You don't know anything about me." "No," she replied calmly. "But I know the kind of men they send." That word hung in the air. They. He had heard it before. From people right before they died. Blaming someone else. Making excuses. But something about the way she said it didn't sound like fear. It sounded like truth. "You've got a name," he said, steadying his voice. "And I've got a job. And if your job is wrong?" Silence. That question wasn't part of the deal. Didn't matter who she was. Didn't matter what she'd done. Names on paper didn't come with explanations. Just outcomes. Still. His finger didn't move. Behind him, the wind picked up, dragging dust across the dry ground. The whole place felt too quiet now. Too watched. "You should do it," she added suddenly. His eyes narrowed. "What?" "If you're going to shoot me," she said, her voice unwavering, "do it now. No fear. No hesitation. Just certainty." And that's when it hit him. This wasn't a woman waiting to be saved. This was someone who already knew something he didn't. Slowly, he lowered the gun. Just an inch. But that inch changed everything. Her eyes shifted slightly, not in relief, but in recognition. "You finally see it," she whispered. "See what?" "That this isn't about me." A sharp sound echoed in the distance. A door slamming. Or maybe a signal. His head snapped slightly toward the town behind him. That's when instinct kicked in. Not the instinct to kill. The instinct to survive. He stepped back. Gun still in hand. But no longer aimed at her. "Start talking," he said. Because for the first time since he took the job, he wasn't sure who the real target was anymore. They didn't wait long. By the time he and the woman stepped back into the main road, eyes were already on them. Watching. Counting. Judging. The town of Red Hollow had a way of going quiet when something was wrong. And right now? It was too quiet. "She's still alive." The voice came from the saloon porch. Rough. Disappointed. Not surprised. He didn't respond. Didn't need to. Everyone could see it. The job wasn't done. You had one task, another man muttered, stepping forward. One. He shifted slightly, placing himself just half a step in front of her. Not obvious. But enough. I don't miss, he said flatly. Then why is she breathing? That question hung heavier than any threat. Because there was no good answer. Not one they'd accept. Behind the crowd, the sheriff finally appeared. Slow steps. Hands relaxed. Eyes sharp. I was wondering how long this would take, the sheriff said. Take for what? The gunslinger asked. For you to realize, the sheriff replied calmly. That some people don't need a trial. The woman behind him let out a quiet breath. Tell him the truth, she said. A few men shifted uncomfortably. Others grew tense. The sheriff's expression didn't change, but something colder slipped into his eyes. Careful, he warned. No, she said, louder now. You've let them believe I'm the problem long enough. The air cracked. Like something invisible had just snapped. You brought trouble here, one of the townsmen shouted. I exposed it, she fired back. That did it. The murmuring turned into anger. Real anger. You think we don't know what you're hiding? Another man stepped forward. Do you? She challenged. Silence again. Because that was the truth. They didn't know. They just believed. And belief? Was easier than truth. The gunslinger glanced from face to face. Something wasn't right. This wasn't justice. This was fear dressed up as certainty. You hired me, he said slowly, eyes on the sheriff. You tell me what she did. The sheriff smiled faintly. Not kindly. She knows things that don't concern her. That's not a crime. It is here. That answer landed wrong. Too fast. Too clean. Like it had been prepared. Behind him, the woman stepped closer. Ask him about the names, she whispered. His jaw tightened. Names again. Same word from before. Same weight. What names? He asked. The sheriff's smile disappeared. And just like that, the entire tone of the street changed. Hands drifted closer to holsters. Boots shifted in the dust. She's lying, the sheriff said sharply. Then let her prove it, the gunslinger replied. Big mistake. Because now, it wasn't just about her anymore. Now, he was questioning them. And in Red Hollow? That was worse than betrayal. They didn't follow right away. That was the strange part. He expected resistance. A fight. Something. But instead, they let them walk. All the way back to the barn. That alone was enough to raise alarm. No one stops us, he muttered. They don't need to, she replied quietly. Inside, the barn smelled of hay and dust. Ordinary. Too ordinary. She moved quickly, dropping to her knees near a stack of old sacks. You're about to regret this, he said. I already did, she answered. Then she pulled the wood panel loose. Hidden beneath it. A small iron chest. Locked. He crouched beside her. This is what they want you dead for? No, she said, meeting his eyes. This is what they're afraid of. She opened it. Inside. Letters. Dozens of them. Folded. Worn. Handwritten. He picked one up. Scanned it. And froze. Because the name signed at the bottom was the sheriff's. Another letter. Another name. A ranch owner. Another. A trader. Another. Men from this town. Important men. What is this? He asked. Proof, she said. Of what? Her voice dropped. Of everything they've been doing. He looked again. This time slower. Payments. Routes. Agreements. Not legal ones. Quiet ones. Deals made in shadows. And then he saw it. A list. Names marked. Crossed out. And some. Still untouched. His stomach tightened. Those are people, he asked. She nodded. People who asked questions. A long silence filled the barn. Then. You're next, aren't you? He said. Her expression didn't change. I was. That word hit harder than anything else. Was. Not anymore. Because now. He knew. And that meant something worse. They didn't just hire me to kill you, he said slowly. No, she replied. They hired you, she continued. So no one would question it. That's when it clicked. The reputation. The fear. The finality. If he pulled the trigger. No one would ask why. And if he didn't. He'd become part of the problem. A noise outside cut through the silence. Boot steps. More than a few. She closed the chest. They're done waiting, she said. He stood up slowly. Gun already in hand. Good, he replied. Because now. He finally knew who deserved it. They surrounded the barn before stepping in. Smart. Cautious. But not cautious enough. The door creaked open. Sheriff first. Of course. You've seen it, the sheriff said calmly. Not a question. A statement. Yes, the gunslinger replied. A pause. Then. That's unfortunate. The tension snapped tight. You kill me now, the gunslinger said slowly. Everyone starts asking why. The sheriff shook his head. No, he said. They'll say you turned on us. A beat. And they'll believe it. Because that's how this town worked. Not truth. Not facts. Stories. Controlled ones. Behind the sheriff, more men stepped forward. Rifles ready. This wasn't an arrest. This was cleanup. You should have just done the job, one of them muttered. Yeah, another added. Would have been easier. The gunslinger exhaled slowly. Yeah, he said. It would have been. Then everything moved at once. Gunfire exploded. Wood splintered. Dust filled the air. He moved fast. Faster than most. First shot. Clean. Second. Closer. Chaos swallowed the barn. Men shouting. Reloading. Falling. He grabbed her arm, pulling her behind cover. Stay low. I know how this works, she snapped back. Good. Because they weren't getting a second chance. A bullet tore through the wall inches from his head. They're not stopping, she said. No, he replied. They can't. Because now. It wasn't about hiding the truth. It was about surviving it. He checked his ammo. Not enough. Never enough. You trust me? He asked suddenly. She looked at him. Really looked. No, she said. Good, he replied. Means you'll do exactly what I say. They broke out the back. Fast. Unexpected. Exactly what the others didn't want. Gunfire followed immediately. Too late. They reached the open ground beyond the barn. Exposed. Dangerous. Necessary. Keep moving, he shouted. I'm not the one slowing down, she fired back. Despite everything. He almost smiled. Almost. A rider came in from the left. He dropped him. Another from the right. Missed. Too close. Too fast. They kept moving. Toward the ridge. Higher ground. Better chance. Behind them, the town erupted. Men shouting. Orders breaking. Control slipping. Good. That's what chaos did. It leveled things. At the ridge, they stopped. Turned. Faced it. The whole truth. The sheriff stepped forward below. Bleeding. Angry. Finished. You could have walked away, the sheriff shouted. The gunslinger shook his head. No, he said. I couldn't. A beat. Then. You chose wrong. Maybe. But some choices weren't about winning. Gunfire erupted again. Final. Loud. Decisive. And when it ended, the town wasn't the same. Neither was he. By morning, Red Hollow was quieter than ever. Not peaceful. Just, emptied. Some men were gone. Others stayed. But nothing felt the same. Truth had a way of doing that. It didn't fix things. It exposed them. He stood at the edge of town. Ready to leave. Like always. She stepped beside him. You could have taken the money, she said. He nodded. Yeah. You could have walked away. Another nod. Yeah. A pause. Then. But you didn't. He looked out at the road ahead. Endless. Unforgiving. Some things don't sit right, he said. And once you see it. He didn't finish. Didn't need to. She understood. Where will you go? She asked. He shrugged slightly. Somewhere that doesn't know my name. A faint smile crossed her face. Too late for that. Maybe. Probably. But that was the cost. Not of killing. But of choosing not to. He stepped forward. Then stopped. Just slightly. Next time, he said without turning. Don't wait for someone like me. I won't, she replied. And with that, he walked away. No applause. No reward. Just a choice. That changed everything. Be honest. Would you pull the trigger, or walk away? Type kill or spare, no explanations. Because what happened after he made that choice? The entire town paid for it. And in part 2, you'll find out why.